Good morning, church. Here we are at Jean and Teresa's house. Everybody wave. The camera comes by you. Well, very exciting. It's nice to see you all. As we get going, are there any announcements you can think of this morning?
Pastor Chris?
Yeah,
What is that thing?
This, it's just a tripod, and we're actually going to be on YouTube later.
What's that round thing?
This is a light.
A light?
Yeah, so if it was dark out, we could plug this in to an outlet, and it would give us a nice light so you could see it better.
Okay, I never saw it.
No, good question. That's a good question. Has all these different settings so we can look glamorous.
Broadcaster thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, apparently you haven't seen the campfire.
right? Kate?
I have the
Okay.
brochures for Pilgrim Lodge, if anybody's interested.
Okay, Pilgrim. Is it
Pilgrim
still on?
Lodge has been canceled this summer.
Okay.
Okay.
I wondered how that was.
I guess you gotta look at the pretty pictures over here.
Yeah.
That was the
Jan?
best place.
We probably all got the emails from Lisa saying that she and Bob are back in town.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and because they just got back, they couldn't come to church this morning, but they were hoping we would allow them to come next Sunday, even
Oh,
though
of course.
that will only be day 12 of 14 days of self-quarantine.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, if they're feeling okay, then.
Anybody object?
If you do, we can talk about it after. That's a good question, though. I was going to ask, where are we going to have church next week? I am more than happy to have it at my house every week, but I want to give other people the opportunity. Does anybody else want to have it at their home next week? Maybe. I'm excited. I think I'm going to have it at my house then again next week. I love not leaving home in the morning. Thank you. Yes. Bob and Lisa, come on over. We'll set you on the kayak in the lake, and you'll be way far apart from us. Quarantined in the lake.
Give 'em push.
Yeah. Any other announcements you can think of? All right, we had that Zoom class this past week. That was kind of fun. We talked about racism. Only a few of us showed up, and I was glad that we had the conversation, but we're going to continue it this week on racism. Instead of hour-long documentaries, Lee, you'll be proud to know I found a couple of 10-minute TED Talks,
Oh, good.
and I'll send those out. I realize not everybody has no life like I do and just sits home and watches documentaries for fun.
I like that
So-
one on the one that was about one
Race.
one
Yep.
con-
Ken Ham. We went to the
Yes.
Creation Museum. That
I
was really
really
cool.
want to go.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. They have an arc. Ken Ham put together an arc. Well, not just single-handedly, but a bunch of scientists that are Christians put together an arc. So you can go and see like how Noah was. Life-size arc.
To the original dimensions of the
Right.
original art. Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah.
brought up a lot of points that I had no idea about, in that
Mhm.
documentary.
I know that when we slow down, it's funny. Your mind can think so much more clearly if we have a place to go and think more slowly. Which, if you don't have any more announcements, I don't think we do. That's kind of what camp is good for, right? We slow down, and you can really take value of how beautiful it is. The birds sound nice. The kids screaming and playing in the water. But it's nice to see a man he's not super young, he's not super old, but he's taking time to play in the water. At camp we come and we get in touch again with our childhood, with memories from the past. And so I wanted to ask you, do you have any favorite camp stories you'd like to share? Yeah, Linda.
Our family used to go camping because we didn't have a camp, and with my Uncle Raymond and Aunt Mary and their kids. And we went to the Sebago Lake State Park, and it was so crowded and so full. So the first thing my Aunt Mary did, she hung blankets up everywhere so that we would have a little bit of privacy.
Yep.
And we kids thought it was just the best place in the world. We had so much fun, we swam all day.
I love that. Yeah, that is fun. A lot of fun. Edna?
I have a brief one. Years ago, my husband and I, we found out about this old house. They wanted to have it moved. It was an old cape. So we went and took that thing all the way down, and I marked everything where it would go, and we put it up again down. We
Oh,
had
neat.
a plot on the ocean then up in Hopswell. it's still there today. It's
Oh,
like
wow.
1820s.
Wow, that's neat.
So I guess that's a camp story.
Nice. And you were with, and you made that memory with your husband, but then like your children later.
Moved that whole thing from one area,
Mhm.
which we had to take it all down first, to this other place about 18 miles, with the big beam sticking out of the back. But anyway,
That's fun. That's a lot of fun.
As you didn't tell you, it was the hottest summer we'd ever had. It was 95 degrees every single day. The pokies died and they all backed up
Aw.
into the cold.
Oh.
And it smelled terrible. And here they are, this middle-aged older couple putting up this antique home.
oh, we were young then.
All right.
Seems like that.
That's endurance.
Well, he was still young. He's 72, so he was still young. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, he's still her father.
No AC though.
Huh?
No,
air
AC.
conditioning.
No.
Wouldn't have made any difference with the pokey smell. It was pretty, I lived in Brunswick, but I worked at Bath Iron at the time, and they were coming up to the Meadows River, not Meadows, Kennebec River. They were coming up, and Bath Iron wasn't a good place to be either because it was a lot of summer. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I
That
have
sounds.
a Boy Scout thing. When I was younger, I was a Boy Scout, and we had this one guy. 3 years in a row, we go camping. We went camping on this place called Upta Pond over in Brunswick, and 3 years in a row, we'd say, "Are you sure you want to go camping with us?" "Yeah, I want to learn, get a merit badge in this, merit badge in that, whatever." And every time, 2 o'clock in the morning, the scoutmaster would come wake me up because I was the the older person there, older than me. Like my scoutmaster couldn't swim. I was the only guy there. I had to row the boat back across to get this kid over to the other side to get him home because he was homesick.
That
3
sounds
years
about
in a
right.
row. Oh.
There's
We
a
did
couple
come after
camp
that.
songs about that, right?
Yeah.
Hello, Mata. Hello, Mata. Do you have camp stories over here,
I
Maury?
had 2 really good sets of grandparents. Really good sets of grandparents. So on my mother's side, my grandfather would take my brother and I to the beautiful camp at Calca Pond and take us horn pouting every night. And then we'd eat the horn pout. It was so, otherwise known as catfish. And then my grandmother Pike, Viola, would load all 6 of us grandchildren into her vehicle, wouldn't she, Annie? And take us to Barker Pond, where we had nice trailers and so forth, and just spend the day, and sometimes at night.
I love that.
She was very brave to take all 6 of us. So,
No doubt. That sounds like going
was
to prison in a way. And you go with your grandchildren every year, Jan and Lee. I know that.
Oh, to Pilgrim Lodge and outdoor camp.
Yeah.
I have, the story I remember is growing up in New Jersey, with my 2 brothers and sister. My parents would always bring us to Maine in the summer for a week of camping. We would go to Bear Pond, and I can remember still the smell of like the really hot pine needles.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that smell. So whenever I smell it now, I always feel like it doesn't matter where I am, I'm at camp, you know.
I love
and
that.
It's just such a good smell. And then if you hear the sound of a loon on top of that,
Oh, yeah.
it's like icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
do have a loon here, but I haven't heard him yet today, so he may make an appearance.
You might stop in. Maybe do a solo.
Maybe.
And it's such a nice time.
Linda?
We have an eagle too.
Pilgrim Lodge is a welcoming place. So many
Oh, yeah.
children have gone there for their whole lives and they've had mind-changing
Oh, yeah.
experiences. Well, one time we were quite poor with my first husband and we wanted our son to go. So if I was a counselor, he could go for half price. So of course I went. And it was music and theater week. We sang and we danced, the counselors, all night long. We partied. It was so much fun. And yet here we are watching these kids and everything. So I met some lifetime friends that we still see. Dana Reed he's a minister still, but he's still a friend of ours from way back in Pilgrim Lodge. They talked to us because we had experience being out on the ocean. We ended up handling, they had a saltwater dory trip each year for the kids. So my first husband and I, we led it for about 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And rode island to island in Blue Hill Bay and camped out and sang all night and danced and played and it was
Oh, that
Pilgrim
sounds
Lodge
nice.
was a wonderful experience.
That's where I met Jan and Lee's granddaughter Cora. Is at Pilgrim Lodge. I was a counselor at Harry Potter Week.
Yeah.
And so I got to get to know the kids there, and it was nice because when I met you both, I already knew your granddaughter and your daughter from different experiences in life, and so there were connections. Camp is great, a great place for connections. I love that piece. I love that we're all thinking about camp and hearing the stories from people that are a lot older. Like these things that you treasure in your heart that you bring with us and then share with us help us to know you better and to see you as children really playing. And that just brings me so much joy to see that. As we're thinking about camping and camping experiences, we have a song to listen to. I was talking to Rick this week, and he said that a song from like the 80s when he went to camp was Pass It On. So we'll listen to that. And I made sure to pick one that you could almost hear playing around a campfire, just a guy with a guitar hanging out. So it's not about all of the musical accompaniments. It's really the voice, the guitar, and the togetherness. So sing if you'd like to. And thank you, Tim, for getting it going for us. I learned that at Pilgrim Lodge. It takes us back to this final glory. Soon all those around and more than that's how it is with God's love. Once you've experienced it, spread His love to everyone. One to pass it on. One to silent spring, when all the trees are budding. Birds begin to sing, the flowers start their blooming. That's how it is with God's love. Once you've experienced it, you want to see it's fresh like spring. You want to pass it on. I wish for you, my friend, this happiness that I find. You can depend on Him. It matters not where you're found. I'll shout it from the mountains high. I want the world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. I'll shout it from the mountains high. I want the world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. So when I think about camping, this is beautiful camp. When I think about camping, I think about being in a tent. And so I brought a tent with me, and I have a couple of friends that are going to help me put it up over here. Isn't this exciting, guys? Aren't you excited? So let's go ahead right down by the fire pit.
Like the
We'll
first
take
time we've
this.
seen this tent.
We'll take this with us. Come on down. We'll get our tent all set up.
I'll watch you do it the first time.
All right.
I think you read the directions, not me.
Arabella, if you want to, you can help.
Absolutely.
Come on down, Arabella.
You're the next one.
Whew. I did my part. Go ahead, guys. You're doing good.
Yeah, I'll do my part.
Need to make sure they're getting this.